Alright, this is Wikes back once again with part 2 of my custom star power button installation tutorial. And this is just going to be disassembling your Explorer. This is not specific to the custom star power button, but for starters you're just going to remove the screws. That's it. If you've got troubles with this, you shouldn't be taking it apart anyway. So basically, if you take out all the screws and it gets sort of stuck, just give it a little wiggle and twist the screwdriver in one of the screw holes a little bit and it'll pop out. But anyways, we're going to start by removing the whammy bar here. I like to turn it backwards and then just sort of rotate it out here, angle it a little bit, and be gentle so you don't rip the wires off of it, but it will come out just fine. And then one layer at a time, going to remove the retaining wall here, the actual bar assembly itself, and then we're going to remove the little spring arms and the spring itself. Make sure you don't lose that spring because you will be in a bad neighborhood if you do. Next, we're going to remove the little frame for the potentiometer and everything that holds it together. So that is basically that. Next, I'm going to remove this little retaining bridge that goes over the ribbon cables from the whammy bar, USB cable, and the little phone jack over to the main PCB. Pretty simple. I just take out those two screws and it wiggles it off. Gets a little bit stuck sometimes. Just force it. It doesn't matter. Next up, we've got the phone jack that I think I'm going to remove, or I remove the strum bar assembly. There are 4 screws on the outside perimeter. You don't need to remove the 4 in the center to get this off, so I'm just going to pull off that main PCB here eventually. Alright, so now that's off. Me pressing the buttons, making sure they click. Then the strum bar and the 2 little walls on either side just lift out and you're all set. So now I remove this little phone jack. Just pull out those 2 screws and just lifts out. Then we've got the little headset port or whatever that thing is. Pull those screws out and then the entire thing slides up, and then the black frame piece that holds it all in place just pulls straight off and you can throw that wherever. So next up, I'm going to be disassembling the neck, and you'll see why in just a moment. This is very basic. You just pull off these few screws. I think on some models you've got to actually take out the one that's in the strap holder peg there, but I'm not exactly sure. Could be on a Les Paul or something, I don't remember. So next up, I'm going to pull out the screws on this fretboard here and bring that off. Sometimes the pads will stick to it. I'm going to go ahead and pull those off, take a look at them. These are some really nice pads. If you ever have a sunken fret, what actually happens is the dome on the membrane of one of these pieces here actually like cracks and separates so it doesn't spring back up. But I'm just going to go ahead and push the buttons out from the front of the fretboard and then take off the 4 screws on the main PCB here. And the reason I took apart the neck was so I could get the fretboard PCB out of there and actually remove the entire wiring assembly, which I do right here. And then I'm going to gently take that and move it elsewhere and move on to removing this stuff, your D-pad and Xbox button, whatever it does, and then your back and start buttons. So this isn't quite necessary if you're just doing the star power button, but I'm going to start by pulling off that pad and then the little pad on the Xbox button, and then the 2 little mini tiny pads on your start and back buttons. And be careful you don't lose these because the buttons will not function without them. So I'm just going to pull that one off there and then pull it out. It's hard to show without blocking it with my hands. On these I just press from the outside and just grab with a finger and pull them out. Same with the Xbox button there. And it's a slightly different process for your D-pad here. What you're going to do is take a small screwdriver and stick it under one end, and then I can sort of flex it here a little bit, making sure I don't crack one of the fins off. I just do that on either side, moving back and forth as long as I need to, and it will just pop off. So next up, I'm going to pull off the neck, and again, this is not necessary. I'm prepping this for painting, so unless you're doing that, you don't need to do this. I would probably recommend it for cutting a hole in the case just because it's easier and you won't get nasty gunk all over everything, but pick guard comes off just like that. Mine had a bunch of black shit under it that I do not know the source of. So anyways, this is the back and start buttons on the actual PCB, and I tried to have a somewhat steady hand here and I stabilized it a little bit, but if you look at the little circular dots on either side here, that's what you're actually going to be soldering the wires onto when you make your start power button. And I'm not gonna dwell on that for too long. I'm just gonna sort of show you over this PCB. It's pretty simple. This is your strum bar, your plectrum. It's got up and down strum labeled. On the back here, they've each just got two little soldering points. They're very easy to replace with whatever switches you want if you are so inclined. I'm not. Here's the potentiometer for your whammy bar, and then we've got whatever the fuck this thing is. It's a headset thing or something. But anyways, that is it for this video. This is literally just disassembling the Explorer, and the reason I'm separating it from all the other videos is because it's not exclusive to adding a custom start power button, and I don't know if there are videos and guides out there on how to just disassemble a guitar. So that's that. Anyways, part 3, where I actually get to work and do stuff and show you something you don't know, is coming soon.